Alex, I think John Bolton is a good man. He's a solid conservative, an early supporter of Ronald Reagan. I think he's more of an apparatchik, an operative rather than a policymaker. He's very highly capable, and I think he will carry out the orders of his boss, in this case, President Donald Trump. He's a vast improvement over General H.R. McMaster, whose clear ties to George Soros and the Open Society Institute we established right here at InfoWars.
Joining us for the balance of this hour is the former head of the Trump campaign and, of course, best-selling author, the only member of the folks with Nixon, supposedly, with the plumbers to not go to jail because he wasn't involved. Just quite a historical figure. Roger Stone, dreaded by the left, dreaded by the globalists. He knows John Bolton, now tapped to replace McMaster. He predicted last Monday on this show, 10 days ago, that he would be gone within 10 days. And he was gone within 9. And people are flipping out saying, this is one of the architects of the fake Iraq war, something Trump was against, something Stone was against at the time, so was I. Why is this happening? Well, Roger has the answer because he plays poker and drinks whiskey with Bolton going back for decades. And he says we don't have to worry our little heads about it. And I tend to trust Roger. Let's see what Mr. Stone has to say. Mr. Stone?
Thank you, Alex. I do know John Bolton very well, and I think he's a good man. He was an early supporter of President Ronald Reagan. He's a real conservative. I don't think he is one of the architects of our failed Iraq policy. I think he is an operative, a highly skilled one, a very capable man, carrying out the orders of his boss, in those days, George W. Bush. He's a vast improvement over General H.R. McMaster, whose clear ties to George Soros and the Open Society Institute we established right here at InfoWars. I honestly think that you will find Bolton to be a most capable executor of Donald Trump's foreign policy, as opposed to a guy making policy himself.
And let me just add this, not to brag, but why they fear InfoWars, why they fear you, why there's probably 500 articles a day lying about you, misquoting me. I mean, the lies have reached next level. We'll talk about some of that next segment so people can understand the level of propaganda we're dealing with here and why they're so afraid. But you wrote the articles for InfoWars 6 months ago exposing McMaster and this direct Soros mole, and that McMaster was Soros funding. And then you talked to Trump, obviously. We won't talk about that, but Trump was shocked. Then he discovered McMaster was one of the main leakers. Just got caught again last week with the whole Kelly thing, and and this week the congratulation of Putin. So it is the Infowars.com articles that got directly to the president, that were hand-delivered to him, that now caused the chain reaction for him to remove McMaster. So that's a whole nother story.
No, I think you're absolutely right, Alex. The president is glad to hear alternative views, and I think he knows that he doesn't always necessarily get the straight story from the tight circle around him. That's why he's been making these big changes. That's why we have swapped out our Secretary of State, why we have swapped out our CIA director, why we are swapping out our National Security Advisor. These are all improvements from the previous appointees, in my opinion.
And we can see that Trump has set sail in year number 2 at a ramming speed for nationalism and to fulfill his other promises on so many fronts. So I agree with you. I think Bolton is an apparatchik from what we know, and he will implement the will of the president, and that's what matters. Let's talk about that of Fiona Hill, the Soros mole, on the other side. Roger Stone last Monday said within 10 days, McMaster will be gone for leaking and because he's been working with George Soros. Incredible. He's gone. He told you back in January of this year, he said by the middle of March, Tillerson will be gone. He has the sources, as you know. And so now, is he selling us out with John Bolton? What's really happening and what's the next shoe to drop? We're also watching, coming up next hour, Trump is set to give a press conference on the omnibus bill. This is the swamp striking back. I would expect the president to say he's going to veto it and send it back because all it has is defense, doesn't even have the border wall, and it is the biggest budget we've ever seen. We'll get Roger's take on that as well right now. Roger.
Alex, I think John Bolton is a good man. He's a solid conservative, an early supporter of Ronald Reagan. I think he's more of an apparatchik, an operative rather than a policymaker. He's very highly capable, and I think he will carry out the orders of his boss, in this case, President Donald Trump. The first order of business has to be firing Fiona Hill, the Deputy National Security Advisor, who has previously spent 7 years working for George Soros and who was improbably, is today, a member of the Trump White House staff.
Amazing. Again, what's the next shoe to drop, and what does this signify, the shakeup? We're already seeing action-wise from Trump. If you thought year one was good, standing up to China and its $500 billion trade deficit with us, standing up to their warships, threatening the Philippines, Japan, and others, moving U.S. warships in point-blank range, making North Korea come to the table, hundreds of billions in new jobs, millions of new jobs themselves, the border becoming secured, crushing the back of political correctness, pulling us out of TPP, renegotiating NAFTA and GATT. I mean, wow, the shakeup we're seeing is very nationalistic. Because say what you want about Mr. Bolton, and he's got problems, obviously, but he is a nationalist, an anti-globalist.
Well, I would say this, Alex. The next thing that I believe the president is going to pull out of his hat is the denuclearization of North Korea. My sources tell me that there's a deal on the table that could be effectuated that would be a great plus for world peace. Now let's see what the president's critics have to say if he pulls that off.
Roger, I've been asking the questions here, but I got to go back to this. McMaster, how did you know last Monday, not this Monday, last Monday, 9-10 days ago, that he would be gone within 10 days? And again, Fiona Hill, what's your intel on her? Because isn't she the key nexus with Soros?
Well, obviously, Alex, like any journalist, I cannot give up my InfoWars sources. But sources at the highest level in the White House told me that McMaster was on thin ice last year. He was survived only because of the shift from Reince Priebus to General Kelly, and General Kelly saved his job. We predicted some weeks ago that he was back on the skids. I predicted Monday his firing was 10 days away. You recall that Sarah Sanders, a very nice lady, vehemently denied that, said there were no changes being anticipated at the NSA. Now, 9 days later, he's out. InfoWars, once again, tomorrow's news today. As far as Fiona Hill is concerned, I have to believe that Bolton will bring in his own deputy. I expect that deputy to be a nationalist like Bolton, and I think it is bye-bye Fiona Hill.
Well, I know Bolton is a nationalist, and he also doesn't like radical Islam. My problem is, even if he's a nationalist, he doesn't seem to find a war he doesn't like. I understand we need hawks to make North Korea get in line, and China and others. But again, I just go back to our listeners being really, really worried about this. I'm not really worried because I trust Trump. He keeps bringing people in and finding out who will execute operations. And so, as you said, he is an apparatchik or a tool, and he knows everybody in the UN, in the State Department, in the CIA, in the Defense Department. So if Trump wants somebody that knows the lay of the land as a scout into this whole thing to take control of our military, then John Bolton's the perfect guy. It's my analogy from during the campaign. I said, I don't expect Trump to not get some goblin guides when he goes into Mordor, and I don't expect him to not get some goblin blood on him or goblin slop. I just don't want to, catch him kissing goblins. I don't want to catch him in bed with a goblin. I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
Well, but just think what a vast improvement Bolton will be over General McMaster. McMaster was a pipeline to Soros. McMaster was pushing to expand our involvement in Afghanistan and Syria. I don't think you'll see this kind of stuff from John Bolton. I actually think on balance, the president's made an excellent choice, and I think we will be praising Bolton months from now.
And weren't you, I forget what's off record and what's on record. Didn't somebody very close to you, maybe the guy wearing a black hat right now named Roger Stone, didn't you recommend Bolton to the president?
I knew that he was under consideration. I said he was a very good man. I didn't nominate him or anything. There was some discussion that he might need to shave his mustache to get hired. Fortunately, that didn't happen because somebody photoshopped a picture of him without the mustache. Frankly, he looked ridiculous. So I think the president's making an excellent choice.
By the way, you're not joking. The president hates his mustache. That's really true.
Hates his mustache.
I mean, Trump tells him, shave that damn thing off. What is that, a rat?
President,
what's the quote? He calls it a rat?
Clean-cut look. You know, he likes that clean-cut look. And he likes to joke with Bolton about his Wilford Brimley-style mustache. But frankly, look, I'm glad he got the job. I think conservatives, anti-globalists will be praising Bolton in a matter of months.
Why doesn't Bolton shave the mustache if the president asked him to?
Well, it's kind of a personal thing. I mean, Alex, if somebody asked you to change your hairdo, would you do it? No.
Well, it's only because I don't think about it. I mean, I don't put anything in my hair. I comb it in about 30 seconds in the morning, as viewers should probably notice half the time. Yeah, there he is without a mustache.
Yeah. Bring back the stash.
Oh, my gosh. It does look like he has like a mop broom or like one of those dust brooms under his nose. Getting serious, you always have a lot of stuff on your radar. What else are you looking at right now?
Well, there's a big move today because the Daily Beast, which is one of the least credible news organizations in the country, believes that they have proved that Guccifer 2.0 is a Russian hacker, which allows them to revive the headline, Trump associate Roger Stone was in touch with Russian hacker. Anybody who will look at that exchange between Guccifer 2.0 will realize it is perfunctory. It is innocuous.
No, it's you on a message board as a journalist. I mean, we were reaching out as well. We reach out to all the hackers. We want the scoops.
It's a smear. So the point is, my conversation with him anyway was ex post facto. It happened long after the DNC material had been published by WikiLeaks. This is meaningless, but it gives the left an opportunity to recycle that headline. Trump associate Roger Stone communicated with Russian hacker. It's fake news, Alex.
What do you think China's going to do? They say, quote, they're going to fight till the end against our, quote, tariffs when they're the ones with the tariffs on us.
Look, I think this is all negotiating posture between both sides. The Chinese have figured out what all these foreign countries have figured out. Trump is not a pushover. Trump will not draw a line in the sand and then watch you walk over it. Trump means business, and there's mutually beneficial business to be done between the United States and China. Trump is above all a deal maker who wants what's best for the United States. So how much of this is posturing for the negotiations ahead? I think that's most of it.
But Trump said that they all laugh when he meets them because they know it's all one-sided globalism and that the era of our surrender, as Vice President Pence said, is over. Thank you, Roger Stone.
Well, I think in all honesty, when the president went to his first international meeting where he was essentially snubbed by all these snotty European leaders, they made an enormous mistake. All they did, I think, was force the president to double down on his resolve to bust up their combine and get better trade relations for the United States. Never underestimate Donald Trump.
That's right. Thank you, Roger Stone.
Thank you, Alex.
What an amazing time to be alive right now, ladies and gentlemen. What an incredible time to see such positive things happening. And it's just riveting to know they tried to intimidate, destroy Trump, tried to destroy his family, tried to destroy my family, and it didn't work. That said, the new thing I'm going to cover a little bit later in the next hour is all these articles, NPR and others, where they misrepresent what I've said. Here's one out of the New Zealand newspaper, and it says that Alex Jones has been banned off YouTube for bullying children. NPR is running reports almost every day. I've heard 3 of them this week that have been sent to me saying Jones has been sued for saying no one died in Parkland. So they're going even further than lying and saying that I bullied David Hogg or said that he was a crisis actor and said that he wasn't in the school. I never said that. I said they've been picked as spokespersons. They are on the acting club. They admit they're actors, but they're out here putting a PR stance out. So it's next level, folks. I'm not being sued for saying nobody died at Parkland. I'm being sued by the Vatican, basically, the Black Pope and Georgetown University for nothing to end the First Amendment. A foreign power is trying to end the First Amendment, and my lawyer said that the suit's a complete joke and a total fraud, and nothing they say I said. It'll be thrown out summary judgment. But they want the fraudulent headlines to make it look like we're going down and we're in trouble when we're winning and they're losing.
You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
Talking to some of my colleagues at Trump Tower just a few minutes ago, there's a little optimism here.
No one thought it was going to be this close at this point. Trump can still win this thing.
So we have another state to project it as the state of North Carolina, big battleground state. It's going to Donald Trump.
I was actually ready to go to bed.
And then I started seeing the Electoral College come in, and I'm like super psyched.
This is going to be a very close election.
I'm seeing these late-breaking trends. This could hand Trump the presidency, folks. This is not by any means over.
I think there's some real jitters setting in Clinton headquarters right now.
Wolf, the scene here is so different than it was a few hours ago when people were happy and relaxed.
This is most unexpected.
Certainly is a huge, huge surprise to so many people out there.
I think we all thought it couldn't happen, that he couldn't do what he did, and guess what? He may just do it.
Donald Trump has taken the lead. He has 216 electoral votes.
This is truly the beginning of the end for Hillary Clinton's campaign.
He is pulling ahead of Hillary Clinton. You see it right there.
We haven't discussed the number of groups who are likely feeling real fear right now. You've got women, immigrants who have been threatened by Donald Trump with deportation.
How do I explain this to my children? I have Muslim friends who are texting me tonight saying, should I leave the country?
America is crying tonight. I'm not sure how much of America, but a very, very significant portion, and I mean literally crying.
Hillary Clinton has telephoned Donald Trump to concede this election. It is now President-elect Donald Trump.
NBC projects Donald Trump, the President of the United States.
People have talked about a miracle. I'm hearing about a nightmare.
This is your life now. This is us. This is our country.
It's been sold out for months, and now it's back. It's Myco ZX Plus. Lower price, more ingredients, because we scaled up, signed a year contract with an even bigger organic manufacturer and producer. Scalability. But now we're able to go at 50% off to $27 instead of $39, 50% off. Because there's a lot of product and a lot of ingredient in Myco ZX. Now, it's the other side of the equation. Everybody thinks about probiotics and how great they are for your gut because of toxins in the environment, pesticides, herbicides, but more importantly than bad bacteria that probiotics help displace, yeast mold creates slime walls. And once the candida and the yeast and the mold and all that get in there, it causes all sorts of serious issues. Well, this has got a bunch of concentrated herbs in it and compounds known to destroy that slime wall. Don't wait to start detoxifying your body until it's too late. Pick up a bottle of the new and improved Myco ZX Plus now from the InfoWars store.